Good morning and welcome to the first lecture of BIAF 3027 Advanced Corporate Reporting. The topic for today's lecture is IAS 40, which deals with investment property, with an aim to develop comprehensive knowledge and understanding about IAS 40 investment property. This lecture will try to cover following aspects related to IAS 40 investment property, and these aspects includes concept of investment property, conditions under which any property doesn't considered as investment property, which form part of exceptions, presentation in the books of subsidiary company as well as parent company will also be covered in the present lecture. Recognition of investment property by the business entities in their financial statements, measurement of value of investment property based upon different methods allowed under IAS 40, and disclosures that the business entities are required to furnish while presenting investment property in their financial statements. Since International Financial Reporting Standards, abbreviated as IFRS, is one of the most prominently growing field of study because of emergence of multinational enterprises. Therefore, in order to develop knowledge and understanding about the topic IAS 40 investment property and its accounting treatment under IFRS, students should be equipped with following prerequisites, and these includes conceptual background of IFRS, constituents of IFRS, which includes IFRS and IAS, in-depth knowledge about various statements that form part of financial statements of the business entities under IFRS. Moreover, students are also required to be equipped with in-depth knowledge about various items as also line items that form part of financial statements of the business entity, and accounting treatment of various items as also line items that form part of financial statements of the business entity. Before discussing about investment property and various aspects associated to investment property as mentioned earlier, let us first have a recap about financial statements and specifically statement of financial position and various items and line items that form part of statement of financial position. Statement of financial position, abbreviated as SFP, is a financial statement which exhibits information about financial position of a business concern, that is, assets and liabilities held by any business concern at the end of the reporting period in terms of value and its types. In Indian context, SFP, that is Statement of Financial Position, is popularly known as balance sheet. As has been mentioned that SFP is a statement consisting of assets and liabilities. These may consist of long-term as well as short-term items based on its usability. Thus, assets can be of fixed assets or current assets or both. Moreover, there are number of line items that form part of fixed assets and current assets. One of such line items that form part of fixed assets of an entity's statement of financial position is investment property. Now, the question arises, what exactly is investment property and how it is being measured by business entities? Also, how it is being recorded by business entities in their financial statements. In the next few slides, we try to focus on clarifying these aspects. In the earlier slide, a brief coverage of a statement of financial position has been made. However, with this slide, an effort has been made to develop more better and detailed knowledge and understanding about various items that form part of statement of financial position. In its simplest way out, it can be stated that statement of financial position consists of assets and liabilities. Herein is an image which clearly tries to differentiate between assets and liabilities, and as such, it says assets are something that feeds you. On contrary to that, liabilities are something that eats you. That simply means assets are something which gives some kind of benefit to people. On the other hand, liabilities are something which creates some kind of obligation on people. In this sense, assets can be defined as the items which are owned by business entity and which helps in providing some kind of future economic benefit to the business concerns. Also, it helps in adding the value of the firm, as well as it also helps in increasing company's equity. Some of the prominent examples of assets can be your land, building, inventory, property, plant and equipment held by the business concerns, cash in hand, cash at bank, accounts receivables, etc. Contrary to assets, liabilities are the items that are owed by business entity. That is, these are the items that leads to some kind of obligation that need to be paid by the business concerns in future. Thus, liabilities not only decreases value of the company but also decreases the company's equity. Some of the major examples of liabilities includes bank loan, loan notes also known as debentures, accounts payables, deferred taxes, etc. Considering that the present lecture deals with investment property, which majorly constitutes immovable property, therefore, it becomes necessary to discuss this aspect as well. Immovable assets, also termed as immovable property, is any piece of property which is tied to land and cannot be moved or dislocated physically to somewhere else. The prominent examples that can be put forth for explaining immovable property includes estates, buildings, premises, etc. In IFRS, from business entities perspective, immovable property is presented as part of tangible assets while preparing statement of financial position. There have been instances wherein individuals invest part of their savings in non-current assets, specifically immovable property like land, building, etc., for varied purposes. In this regard, on the one hand, some may seek investment in immovable property for regular incomes by way of rentals. Others may seek investment in immovable property for capital appreciation. Moreover, there may be instances wherein investment in immovable property by individuals is done with an expectation of earning regular income as well as capital appreciation. Similarly, companies may also invest its earnings in non-current assets for regular income or for capital appreciation or both. In accounting, any such non-current assets or immovable assets held by companies for the purpose of either capital appreciation or earning rentals or both are termed as investment property. International Accounting Standard 40, abbreviated as IAS 40, covers various provisions covering a range of aspects related to investment property. According to IAS 40, para 5, any land or a building held by a business to earn rentals or for capital appreciation or both rather than for use by the entity or for sale in the ordinary course of business is considered as investment property. While identifying any property as investment property, it should be kept in mind that any spare property rented out to third parties or specifically bought in order to profit from a gain in value will fall in the category of investment property. Contrary to this, any property which is held by owner is excluded from the definition of investment property as these are not used by the entity in general business operations. Thus, the applicability of IAS depends upon the purpose of holding any such immovable property. Another consideration is with regard to part use and part let out. As such, in a situation wherein property has been put to part use and part let out, then only the part that has been let out will be considered as investment property. In case of group companies, there may be incidences that an asset held by subsidiary has been rented out to parent company. In such a scenario, subsidiary company will present such let out asset as investment property in its financial statements. However, when it comes to presentation of such let out property of subsidiary company to the parent company, it is required that the parent company must present any such asset as property, plant and equipment in accordance with the provisions of IAS 16 in the consolidated financial statements of the group company. Once any asset has been identified as investment property, The next step is to measure and recognize its value for presentation in the financial statements of the company. For recognition aspects, investment property IAS 40 has provision for initial recognition and subsequent recognition. IAS 40 further lays down that in accordance to provisions of IAS 40, cost model will be used by business entities for initial recognition of the investment property. However, for subsequent measurement, entity can either opt cost model or fair value model. An important consideration that need to be kept in mind by the business entities is that once the model is chosen, it must be used for all investment properties. IAS 40 with regard to measurement of value of investment property under cost model says that such asset should be accounted for in accordance to the cost model as laid out in IAS 16. The other method which companies can opt for valuation of investment under subsequent measurement is fair value model, which is also known as revaluation model. Under this model, revaluation of asset is done at fair value and is undertaken every year, and any gain or loss arising on revaluation is shown directly in a statement of income. It should also be considered that any such gain or loss should not enter in statement of other comprehensive incomes. While calculating fair value, it should be kept in mind that depreciation charges, if any, are ignored while calculating value of investment property under fair value method. Fair value of the investment property is generally established by taking reference of the prevailing prices of this similar kind of properties in an active market in the same location and condition. To conclude, it may be said that since investment property is one of the most prominent aspects for business entities, thus its recognition, measurement and disclosures become important for every business concern. With this perspective, the lecture tried to cover all crucial aspects of IAS 40 which deals with investment property. The lecture also covered conditions wherein property held by business entity is not considered as investment property. Attempt was also made to explain presentation of investment property in cases like parent company and subsidiary company and part use or part let out. With regard to recognition and measurement of investment property in accordance to IAS 40, it has been identified that though initial recognition of investment property has to be done at cost by business entities, subsequent recognition by business concern can take place either through cost method or revaluation method, also known as fair value method. At last, disclosure of investment property in the financial statements of the entity has also been covered in the lecture. Herein are some of the most prominent references about the topic investment property in accordance to IFRS that can be extensively used for developing more comprehensive understanding about the topic investment property. Thank you and have a great day.